Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to the Vertical Presents webinar program. Vertical Presents is a monthly webinar program that delivers webinars that are informative in nature, and they're designed to help you learn about the many facets of communications. You can see what webinars are coming up by visiting vertical.com and navigating to the Vertical Presents page. This month's webinar is on private cloud. Is it the right option for your business? This is a very, very special joint webinar between Vertical and Mitel, and is presented by Mitel's Director of Product Marketing, Ginn. If you have any questions during the webinar, please enter it into the Ask a Question function. At the end of the webinar, Paul will answer all of your questions, and you can also always email us by emailing us at webinar@vertical.com. The webinar will be recorded, and we'll send you a link after the webinar so that you can review all the sections that you missed or wanted to learn more about, and you can also share it with your colleagues. You can also always access the webinar recording by visiting our Vertical Presents homepage. And that's all that I have. Paul, it's all yours.
Hey, thank you, Rebecca, and good morning to everybody. I appreciate you joining the webinar this morning. As introduced, I'm the Director of Product Marketing. I also have some marketing operations and competitive responsibilities over here at Mitel. Spend a lot of time pushing out our products, whether they be our private cloud solutions under MyCloud Flex or our other on-site solutions. So that's sort of my responsibility set. You know, companies are considering cloud for their communications and collaboration. There's a number of factors to consider as companies make this significant change. They all have impacts and consequences depending on the solution that a customer is selecting. So basically what I'm planning to do is just give a quick high top of the waves type overview of where you can get started with your consideration of your cloud transition and what solutions you might want to be going after. So there's a study where I'm drawing upon in the first couple of slides here. It's mostly about generic cloud implementation, but 83% of enterprise workloads by next year, this study is about 12 months old, but it's predicting that 83% of the enterprise workloads will be on cloud by next year. And so one of the things that the main tenets of Mitel's vision has been for collaboration and communications, we expect that every cloud will every customer will make some kind of move to the cloud. The question is which cloud and when. If we just look a little bit more in detail of this, where are these workloads running, and how is this growing over time? On-prem, you can see, is declining 37% to 27%. Public cloud growing. The view is by next year, 41% of those workloads will be on a public cloud platform. 20% on private cloud. Hybrid cloud, 22%. We'll talk about each one of those as we go through here. It did look at public cloud utilization. As you might expect, comms and collaboration is a fraction kind of this total. But as the move to cloud platforms is clear, there's a clear, you can look into your own business as to which services you have running in the cloud. Managing of real-time communications has improved, and that shift to the public and private cloud space is clear. So some of the challenges on looking in at public cloud environments. This study kind of looked at a number of questions around sort of challenges that companies have faced. And I think what they've faced in other parts of their IT department is significant for real-time communications and collaboration as we see that transition to the cloud. So number one, security from a public cloud perspective. Still, 66% of respondents see this as a challenge. when dealing in a pure public cloud environment. Government and compliance, having compliancy to the various regulations, whatever vertical you may be in, whether it be HIPAA in the healthcare space, or some of the government regulations around education, or SOX 2 compliant in sort of financial management. Also, staff, your IT staff lacks cloud experience. Enterprises sort of seeing that as a high runner. Of course, privacy for your customers. The fact that vendors tend to lock in for a period of time. Cost, lack of visibility, and unplanned outages, which along the bottom, whilst being kind of a low runner on this top list, is obviously very significant for public cloud, is that maintenance windows and so forth are generally determined by the vendor, and any that can spark for outages in windows where you may be operating, particularly if you're a 24-hour by 7 type of business. So there's a lot to be learned as we transition into this beyond early adopter kind of phase in the communications and collaboration industry. So at Mitel here, there's sort of 3 foundational market observations that we have been communicating for a good sort of 12 months or so around the shift to the cloud. One's around digital transformation. It's a discussion topic. You can find plenty of content out there on mitel.com on digital transformation, our blog space. But we're seeing that digital transformation is quickly separating the winners and the losers. So what do I mean by digital transformation? So this is the use of data sources to make business decisions so that you can build company growth for your companies or for your own business. Communications and collaboration is a key element to your digital transformation. And what we look to do is how can we help to embed those communications into your business workflows, or embed content that comes out of it, or drive a communications trigger within your business to increase your business velocity, increase your business decision making, whether that be automated call for meetings or customer experience type of connectivity in terms of analyzing data that's coming into your front end contact center. So that's the first one. It's separating the winners from the losers. Those that are embracing digital transformation certainly are on the winning side of things. And my observation is this transition to the cloud helps accelerate digital transformation. So the second thing is we're seeing that every business is moving to some type of cloud. The previous data sort of shows that, and we're certainly seeing the adoption and ramp up of interest in terms of companies beginning their decision cycle, evaluating cloud competitors, and so forth. So we're certainly in that early mature stage of the market, and I'm sure you're all somewhat contemplating that by being on this webinar. And the third thing is that you really do, as a customer, have a choice. There's certainly the choice to stick with what you have, but there are certainly several choices within your arsenal to move in your move to the cloud, whether it be to a public kind of UCaaS type solution, a private cloud solution, and that private cloud solution may be on sort of a first-gen data center type backdrop, or a second-gen public cloud platform backdrop or foundation. And there's some differences there that we'll touch on as we kind of go through here in the following charts. So you certainly do have a choice, and we as a provider and Vertical as a provider are here to provide you with that full array of choice out of the Mitel suite. Okay, so let's just look quickly on-site versus cloud. This is sort of a bit of a basic chart. Of course, I suspect you're very familiar with the on-site solution, given that I imagine the majority of you are on an on-site type solution. You fully operate and own your solution. You're responsible for the trunks, the maintenance, the upgrades, the reliability. You probably have a small staff that does that for the rest of your company within your IT department. You've acquired that system up front. You're paying sort of ongoing maintenance at a fraction of the original cost. But generally, your cost is either depreciating off the asset that you produced up front, and you may or may not have already gotten there in terms of that being fully depreciated. I imagine if your system is sort of 5+ years, you already have, and so therefore you're sort of in that maintenance-only type of window. From a cloud perspective, your applications are hosted remotely by the cloud provider, whether that be us or one of our competitors. But basically, your collaboration and communications is all hosted within the cloud. We manage the service. We relieve sort of the ability to relieve your IT staff of that. Of all the network related tasks in terms of upgrades and so forth. You consume this on a OpEx type of manner, so a monthly per seat type of model is pretty typical. And that transition from CapEx to OpEx, basically, if you're in the environment of considering an upgrade, if you're considering an on-site upgrade versus a cloud, then it allows you to free up your CapEx expenditure for other business growth opportunities. You're basically right-sizing your comms and collaboration expenses to fit your operating expense models, and those things that are driving your business, no matter what vertical you're in, is where you can direct your attention in terms of those heavy investments. From a cloud communication solution, one thing is that it still provides for a full, seamlessly integrated communications and collaboration solution with all the applications that you might expect. These help streamline your everyday workflows and improve your productivity, whether that be from chat, instant messaging, via, say, Mitel's MyCollab and MyTeam solutions, whether it be web conferencing and desktop sharing, which we also provide through those applications, video conferencing, mobile applications, collaboration tools that you sort of eliminate your email clutter as you have a more instantaneous connection with your employees for short connect type communications. And your back-off integrations are also available. So solutions that provide a broad suite of integrations to your key back-office systems, whether they be to Salesforce.com or into your HR systems via APIs and so forth. So essentially, you should expect a full, complete solution suite from a cloud offer. You also have the ability for accelerated deployment, given that the deployment for an existing office should be reasonably quick, given that you'd have your various connectivity into your locations. Most of the time frame for a deployment on cloud for any new location is wrapped around just getting physical connectivity to the site. And so you have a full suite. And that suite of applications is growing far more rapidly in a cloud environment, just because of the sort of agile development type models that we're able to, as a provider, employ in the background. So your velocity of new things that you can take advantage of from a cloud model, I would expect or we have started to see that over the past couple of years, and I'd expect that to continue to ramp as we go forward. So the different types of private cloud. So public cloud, basically, let's consider that. Public cloud, you may have also heard of this as being a UCaaS type of solution, Unified Communications as a Service. Your resources, your servers and storage are all owned and operated by your third-party cloud service provider. Mitel provides a solution, and within our arsenal, we would call this this is our MyCloud Connect offer. Private cloud, again, there's two kind of sets here, and I'll cover this on this slide and the next. Is this basically from a private cloud perspective? This is where your computing resources are set up, designed exclusively for your business, your organization. It's typically a dedicated or single instance type of deployment. The resources are typically housed on the supplier's location, but there are certainly deployment models where it could be in your data center being managed by a provider. But typically, you've got a third party hosting your data center or the location where your communications are built. The question is this a wholly owned data center by the cloud provider, and many of the first generation solutions are those, or is this built on the back of a robust public cloud provider? And we'll talk a bit about that on the next slide. And then, of course, there's hybrid cloud, which is really a mixture of adopting cloud with your on-site solution. We certainly can provide solutions that are like that here at Mitel. Typically, you're deploying a private cloud type of deployment. It's not like you can't deploy a UCaaS deployment. You certainly can. But typically, we see it in a private cloud motion where you're wanting to continue to reap the investment of previous purchases on certain sites. Maybe you've got a new site, or you're wanting to transition from one model to the next, and you're going to go geographically site by site. So you deploy kind of a hybrid model as you go through that. And so typically you would parlay your on-site solutions with a private single instance type of solution. So then, private cloud on a public cloud platform. These names should be generally aware names: Google Cloud, AWS, Microsoft Azure, the clear leaders in public cloud platform space. By deploying on top of these platforms, there's a number of advantages that come to the provider of your cloud solution and the end customer. You're going to have a higher resiliency with speed, uptime, security type propositions coming from these platforms. Certainly a global presence as these three have built out globally, and so therefore availability as your service provider if they're adopting a public cloud type of solution, the ability to deploy globally in a rapid fashion, deploy with scale and compliancy to regulations in those local markets is certainly an advantage. And then, of course, innovation through the developments that these companies are doing around artificial intelligence, chatbots in the contact center space, and just general analytics that come off the back of your solution. These three companies certainly have a tremendous amount of resources and the ability to build out at a rapid pace and sort of execute in a global fashion with depth and breadth geographically, if you happen to be a company that is has operations outside of the United States. And so therefore it provides that platform. Also, it allows us as a provider to speed up that agility I mentioned before in terms of development of applications. Being able to build upon these platforms gives us speed, the ability to deploy and take us to sort of a next model. So any company or cloud provider, and we certainly, Mitel is going down this road, that are able to leverage these public cloud platforms, and we're going to be able to have a strategic competitive advantage over others, deliver an advanced, high-quality offering that delivers differentiation versus our competition. And therefore, given that the speed and agility of collaboration applications we're able to bring to the forefront, ability to integrate with your back office, also provides you with an advantage as that exposes itself to your marketplace. So certainly speak to Vertical about this, how we're evolving our cloud solutions. We consider sort of being in the leading space, in the cloud space, in terms of adoption of public cloud, and certainly we're building all our collaboration apps upon our applications are all built at this stage on top of our CloudLink platform, which is foundationally delivered by AWS. All right, so benefits of a cloud-based communication system. Certainly there's value, no minimal upfront expenses. You pay sort of on a monthly basis. You get many cloud providers. Your upgrades are automatic. The maintenance installation fees are either low or non-existent. So basically, you've got a per-seat fee for your solution. So tremendous value in being able to transition from that CapEx to OpEx sort of model. From a maintenance perspective, your cloud phone services, they require minimal to no on-site equipment. And provides valuable, requires, that maintenance and ongoing upgrades and so forth, basically reduces that time from your IT staff in this space, and therefore drives significant advantages for you to focus your IT staff on business growth types of projects. From the accessibility perspective, your employees have accessibility to all the collaboration applications that they would normally expect. It also allows us to deliver those APIs for integrations to key systems and provide you with scalability, and scalability from the perspective, in most cases, scalability up and down. So as you grow, you quickly can add seats and add the ability to almost seamlessly grow your company as your new employees come on. But also, if you're a seasonal business, a number of these cloud solutions allow for seasonality up and down, so you're able to reduce your cloud expenditure, communications and collaboration expenditure as your season drops off, or ramp up during the season and then drop off as you come off the backside of your high season. You can't really talk about collaboration in the workplace without talking about mobility. There's a site out there where I've leveraged this chart and some of the data here, desklessworkforce2018.com, an interesting site. If you're interested in facts and figures about deskless workers, you may be in a business that features this type of an employee, but basically 80% of the global workforce is not tethered to a desk. And you can see a number of the numbers of at least U.S. workers workers globally that this might pertain to. So out of this, when you dig into this website, there's a couple of things that sparked my attention, like the businesses surveyed. No surprise, 98% of businesses use mobile phones and tablets integrated within their workflows. 69% are using some form of wearables. 58% use drones, and 78% use some other mobile hardware. So the ability to deliver communications and collaboration out through mobile devices as employees are on the go, so that you can have a single workforce on a single communications and collaboration platform is fundamental. Transitioning to the cloud solution, as I mentioned in the previous slide, allows you to sort of focus in on these areas, the mobility side, in terms of how you adopt some of these technologies to grow your business. From a cloud platform perspective, there's the obvious integration of our collaboration applications into mobile devices, which essentially at Mitel, we come from a mobile-first kind of mindset, and you'll see that the ability to deliver or extend collaboration to your mobiles and tablets. Also from, so generally it's important that, as you're talking about cloud to a cloud transition, also talk to Vertical about your mobile needs and how we can integrate our communications into your those mobile needs. So public cloud versus private cloud, just from a very top level, public clouds, lower cost, no maintenance, near unlimited scalability. Advantages of sort of private cloud, not that you don't get the left, but on the right, you're also getting more flexibility, so your organization can run customization, custom workflows and so forth, customize the way you set up your instance, so that you can meet specific needs, whether they be in a contact center or for staff or deskless workers. You've got improved security. You have control over mission critical IT transfers or communications that you want to ensure that are fundamentally secure. By saying that, I'm not saying that public cloud solutions are not secure, but of course you're in a multi-tenanted solution, and so you are entirely reliant on the service provider to provide that level of security. And of course, high scalability from a private cloud perspective. I think we've covered most of this slide in previous slides, so I'm just going to move on to the next one. So your business drivers for cloud-based communication systems. If you're a rapidly growing company, these are a number of considerations. If you fit the mold of one of these sort of 6 areas, if you're a business that's rapidly growing, you've got built-in flexibility to really grow as you grow, and almost seamless ability to do that in order for scale. From multiple locations, you're moving or you're adding offices. You can either deploy a hybrid cloud with private cloud type of solution, or use that as a catalyst to transition to the cloud. Perfect opportunity to do that as you expand your business. If you're constrained on IT resources, this is a way that you can relieve the pressure from a collaboration communications perspective, and focus on those mission-critical things that your IT department needs to focus on. Of course, there are many systems that we track here from an on-site perspective that are getting long in the tooth, perhaps outdated. Perhaps you're a company that hasn't continued to upgrade and update. If you are more than sort of 3 or 4 releases behind on your on-site platform, perhaps this is an opportunity to leapfrog to a current solution. We certainly can take a look at that, and depending on the type of hardware you might have on desks, they may or may not be able to transition with you, but there's certainly also the possibility for that if you're transitioning to a private cloud type of solution. If you have a need to improve your customer experience, again, particularly from a contact center perspective, your customer experience can be delivered via the cloud. There are a number of AI advantages that we're delivering via those public cloud platforms into our contact center solutions that allows you to provide a much more rich and targeted interaction with your customers as they approach your business. And if you've got competitive pressures, just from a agility perspective, your own development of your own solution, this is a way to outsource your collaboration and communications so that you can focus in on that. So just a couple of fast facts at the end of this, just to wrap up. 80% of the workforce is deskless. We talked about that and the ability of integrating mobility to your solution and leveraging private cloud solutions in order to do that. Artificial intelligence will power 95% of all customer interactions by 2025. That's pretty interesting. We're certainly digging into that, as I mentioned just on the previous slide. We're embedding AI into our solutions. As we do that, and you adopt that, you're essentially adopting a sort of a cloud application solution to a degree. So you may have a premise contact center solution. AI will be delivered as an app from the cloud. So as that becomes more and more of a catalyst to implement within your own business, I think you'll see a compelling reason to transition to a private cloud solution. Also, on AI, to improve customer experience, 30% of enterprises are turning to IoT. We're certainly getting a lot of interest around that. And one study that we did do is about 12 months back, but a study of companies that haven't adopted a unified communications and collaboration strategy. So let's say those that haven't necessarily upgraded their solutions over the past few years. From our study, we would say that they are losing or spending $11,000 per employee per month lost opportunity for their business by not leveraging those tools and accelerating the velocity of their business. So just to wrap up, some of the attributes for choosing the right cloud communication partner. And of course, we hope that you would be reaching out to Vertical and ourselves. Leadership in the industry obviously is key. We see ourselves as doing that, particularly here at Mitel. We've had a heritage of moving to things first, and from a public cloud perspective and moving to public platforms for cloud is another one of these as we go forward. Obviously, seek out reviews, customers and industry reviews. We have plenty of those. Vertical can share those with you. Consider pricing and additional costs. It's generally a per seat basis, but particularly for those in the public UCAS cost arena, beware of the add-ons. Certainly, they're starting to build a dogfight in the market, and add-ons are always there in the background in order for them to elevate their revenue that they're looking from you. Obviously, feature parity, the ability to transition from your on-site solution to cloud, obviously important. Security, very important that that is maintained to the degree that you're expecting from your provider. Private cloud certainly provides that level, and the single instance approach gives you more control and ability to deploy. From a quality service and call quality perspective, fundamental onboarding and training, support, customer care is obviously a key consideration. And then a group of things that I think private cloud brings you: redundancy, integrated mobility, as we talked about, full scalability, whether that be up and down, and then a full board of analytics so that you can see how your staff are communicating and collaborating with your private cloud network. So last chart here, which cloud? Depending on your business, you have a choice, as we said up front. It really depends on the specifics of your business, so please, engage with Vertical in a discovery type scenario so they are presenting the right path for you. Public cloud gives you speed, flexibility, and built-in integrations. Private and hybrid cloud gives you more control, customization, and advanced capabilities. I thank you for sitting through this session, and with that, I'll bring it to a close and hand over to Rebecca for the last couple of slides just to how to get in touch with Vertical.
All right, thanks, Paul. First of all, I want to let you know that we really care about all of the information that you need and making sure that you feel like you understand everything about your communication systems and your options. That's why we have created a variety of resources for you. The first one is Vertical Presents. That's part of this webinar program here. You can always visit our Vertical Presents page to see new webinars coming up, as well as download the recordings of webinars like the one that we had today. You can also visit the Vertical blog. We have new articles at least once a month to help you stay informed. And then you can also subscribe to the Vertical broadcast to receive those updates directly into your inbox. If you do need help, if you have a question about your current system or need help with a new system, please don't hesitate to call us or email us, and you can even visit vertical.com. And that's all that I have. If there are any questions, please feel free to enter them into the chat box. And if not, thank you so much, Paul. I really appreciate your help today. This was a wonderful presentation.
No worries. Let's see if we've got any questions here. I think we just need to give it some time in case people are typing. All right, Rebecca, I'm not sure we're seeing any questions. So with that, I think we could probably close this down.
All right. Well, thank you so much for presenting and for everyone's help on this today, and we'll see you on the next webinar.